What is up, folks, and welcome to the BJT Show, where I talk about sports, media, entertainment, and such things. I'm your host, Byron, and in this episode, I have a very special guest. He plays long snapper for Georgia Tech, Ronnie Thomas III. Ronnie, thank you for joining me.
Appreciate it. How you doing?
Good, good. What was playing football at Houston County like in high school?
It was awesome. I'm not gonna lie. It's high school football is really just it's nothing much really, especially as a long snapper too. I just we did our special teams of the first two periods of the day, so I just warm up before practice and then do our two special teams periods, right? Period one and two, and then just like I'd be done for the day because I didn't play any other positions in high school because I was just like But yeah, it was cool. It was kind of like I would just stand around and watch practice the rest of the time. But I had fun. High school football is supposed to be fun, and I had a blast.
And you were there a little bit after Jake Fromm graduated, right?
I was, yeah.
Who was the quarterback once Jake Fromm left?
So my freshman year, let me try and backtrack. I haven't even thought about high school football in a while. Um, I think yeah, freshman and sophomore year. One of my good friends, Max Rigby, he was the quarterback, and then my junior year it was Christian Lawhorn, and then my senior year it was AJ Hill or Antoine Hill. He he's at Arkansas now, so he's pretty legit.
And you mentioned Max Rigby. Didn't Max Rigby go to Kennesaw State?
For as a regular student,
Mm. Re-
yes, but I've known him and his family literally since I was like 4 years old. So
Reason why I say that is because I think I've played against him in flag football. So, and
really,
he can throw. He can
in
throw the
the
ball.
intramurals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing with him was like he went like to a JUCO his I guess freshman year of college and just like he said he hated it. He hated JUCO ball, so he just told his parents he was just gonna transfer to like come back home and go to Kennesaw. And then he said he was rushing a fraternity, and they all found out that he played quarterback in high school, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're gonna be our intramural quarterback." So, and he loved all that.
For sure, for sure. What was your recruitment process when you were in high school? What was that like?
So my recruitment process was a little different than like the usual football player. So my recruitment was actually pretty late compared to other people. Um, Honestly, going into like my senior year of college or not college of high school ball, I didn't really think I wanted to play college football. That was a crazy thing. Now I'm at Georgia Tech, kind of weird. But yeah, so getting like halfway through the season, I was kind of like realizing like the season was getting closer and closer to ending, and I was like, huh, I don't really want this to end. So then, like, I started like hitting up all these coaches, getting all my high school coaches to talk to everybody they could. And, still no one really hit me up or anything. And then the season ended, and I was like, oh well, I guess I kind of gave it a shot. Um, yeah, so I was going to Kennesaw State like as a regular student to start with. That was the crazy thing. I already had a apartment signed for a lease, and I had roommates already. And then, so I was really expecting to go there and be a frat guy. That was like my thing I was gonna do. Um, but then I think it was either late February, early March of the second semester of senior year. I I was at one of the high school soccer game, and then I was in the bleachers. I was just like got a random phone call because usually at the time, like if it was a random phone call, I didn't have your contact, I wasn't gonna answer it. But like picked it up, looked at it, and I was like, I feel like for some reason I need to pick this up, answer it. Hello, I was like, this Ronnie, and I was like, yeah, who's this? And he said, hey, this is Coach Buchanan, special teams coordinator at Kennesaw State. How you doing? I was like, I'm good. How are you? Because I mean, like that just like came out of nowhere. And he was like, yeah, I mean, I've been talking with one of your coaches for a little bit, and I want to come see you snap tomorrow because we're thinking about bringing a freshman in. I want to come see you snap tomorrow. Is that okay? And I was like, sure. Because I mean, it was like the season got over with in like late November, and this is like almost March. I haven't touched a football in like almost 4 months. So I was just like, yeah, sure, I guess. You're not going to say no, right? Um, yeah, so I mean, I tried to like prepare a little bit, but I mean, I can't really do much like preparing after 4 months of like not doing anything. But yeah, I just went to bed that day, went to school. I think they pulled me out at like 9:30, 10 a.m. So the principal like got out of his office to come get me from my class, walked me down to the practice field and was like, "You've been practicing?" I was like, "No, I thought like my career was done." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "Oh my God, Ronnie." But yeah, like it was like kind of like terrible like circumstances for me because like with all like the dew on the ground still, and I was like wearing sneakers, like I didn't have cleats on. He was just like, he gave me a football and was like, "I want to see you snap like 15 punt snaps," and I was like, "All right." But yeah, I put the ball down, snapped it 15 times. I don't know how I did. I did flawless. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how I did that. Like I barely touched a ball since season, but I did fairly well, I will say. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm really impressed. We're definitely gonna stay in touch." So I was like, "All right, cool, whatever." And then I got offered, went on a visit to Kennesaw, and then especially with recruiting, like you just need one school to offer you, and then like others start rolling in. I got like Mercer, uh, and I think like shorter university, just a few tinier schools at the time. But yeah, that's how it all inspired. I went on a few like visits to Shorter, Mercer, and Kennesaw, but I thought Kennesaw was the best fit for me. I mean, especially I already had a lease there and signed and everything, so I was like, yeah, I wanted to go to Kennesaw anyway, but I was like, yeah, I kind of have to. So, but yeah, that's how it all started. Kind of weirder situation for me compared to like a quarterback or something like that. So
Nice, nice. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I definitely commend you on your journey and process into getting back into football.
yeah, it's definitely, yeah. It's like sometimes I tell my friends that, and they're just like so shocked. Like all my teammates are like, "Yeah, I was getting offers like when I was like a freshman, sophomore." And I was like, "That's crazy." I got my first offer second semester of senior year, and they're like, what?" And like all like my teammates are like, "I was already in college my second semester of senior year because they all early enrolled."
Dang, that's crazy. That's how it is, though, for real. Definitely.
Yeah,
What was your experience like at Kennesaw State playing football there?
it was awesome. I had a lot of fun. Like, I can't complain once about anything. I met a bunch of really cool guys I still talk to. Um, especially like they're FBS now, but they were FCS when I was there. Especially like I talked to some of the guys that transferred here from FCS to Tech. Like we all talk about like how like kind of like lower level football, like the closer everybody is. So like like it's like the specialists were like hanging out with the DBs on the weekends and all that stuff. We'd all go out to eat. We had a big group chat with like all the guys on the team like in it, and it was literally like someone would text me like, "Hey, I'm," yeah, like we used to all go to Gwinnett Fair, and like someone would be like, "Hey, I'm me and two other guys are gonna go to the Gwinnett County Fair tonight," and then like you people like would thumbs up the message, and there'd be like 40 of us pulling up. It would literally just be like anywhere we went, it was like Kennesaw State football takeover. I thought it was really funny, but I had no complaints. I was there for 2 seasons. Um, it's actually funny because like even though I was on the team freshman year, I still didn't know if I liked college football enough. So I literally told myself freshman year, I was like, all right, I'm gonna like play the whole season, go through spring ball and all that, and just like if I like it, still I'll keep playing. But if I don't, I'll be a frat guy. But, obviously yeah. So freshman year, I played in four. I started 4 games, and then after after playing football, you're like, all right, I kind of like this. So then I played in 4 games, and then I was supposed to start the 5th game, but I was like, I kind of want a red shirt, I want another year to play. So I went up to my special teams coordinator and was like, because I was supposed to start the next game, I was like, hey, I want a red shirt, and they're like, kind of like not wanting me to, like they're like, no, we like want you to play this game, and I was like, but I also want another year of eligibility. So then like he was like, I'll talk to the head coach about it, and like I didn't know if I was gonna start or not until the Friday night before the game. So like the whole like week I was running with the ones for field goal, punt, and everything. And I was like, are they gonna like really like screw me over with like a year of eligibility? And then like we're going into like a full team meeting in the hotel, and then he comes up to me, he's like, hey, like I talked to the coach, he's like, he's okay with you redshirting. And I was like, phew, okay, cool. And I'm actually really kind of glad I didn't play that game, because it was like the worst conditions ever, because we were playing Eastern Kentucky. Was it Eastern? Yeah, Eastern Kentucky. It was so cold. Oh my god. It was like, I think if I remember right, it was 12 degrees with like 25-mile-per-hour winds.
Oh
It
wow.
was so cold. So I feel like the real field was like 2 or something like that. So like, I didn't have to play. So I was on the sideline bundled up, but like the backup, he had to start. So he was like out there like shivering the whole time, and I was like, it kind of sucks, right?
Oh man. Yeah, that's how it
But
is
yeah,
though.
that's how I got my extra year of eligibility. I almost didn't, but thank God I did.
What do you think about Kennesaw State's football program now? I believe they went to the conference championship for Conference USA in 2025 and won, I think. So, how do you think
Yeah.
that the program is doing now?
Yeah, I went to, even after I transferred, I still went, because like Conference USA, they have like weekday games, like they play like on Tuesday or Wednesdays. Yeah, after like class or something like that, I would get like some of my teammates that are still on the team to like reserve me tickets, like 1 or 2 tickets, so I could bring one of my teammates. And yeah, I went to like all the home games. I still love Kennesaw, even though I transferred out of there. But yeah, obviously, like I mean, they did great last season. They went undefeated at home. They think they lost 3 games, something like that. And one of their games was to Western Michigan in their bowl game, which Western Michigan was a really good team last year. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of crazy, like how they went, kind of like get the new head coach in there, and then they win conference for a quick second there. There was talks about them going to the playoffs, being like the G5 bid, but then they lost to Jack State, so they kind of put them out of the picture. But yeah, I see where they're definitely on the rise, especially after winning the conference championship. But I'm curious what to see they'll do this year, because I remember last year, like me and like all the guys, like their whole team was like basically all transfers with like either like 1 or 2 years of eligibility left. So I'm curious to see how they like rebuild, because all the guys that like were playing had like 2 years of eligibility. They like if they did really well, they leveled up and went power four or something like that. I mean, Amari Odom, he went crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I talked to him a few times before. Um, yeah, he went crazy. Went to Syracuse, and I saw the Syracuse quarterback. They like flip flopped. Like Syracuse quarterback went to Kennesaw. I thought it was kind of funny, but yeah, I'm like curious to see like how good they'll be this year, because it's just so different when you have your whole team as transfers, because like you're only on a team together for like 8 months. You can't really like build, like you can build like great chemistry. Don't get me wrong, but like teams that have like guys that have been there for like 3 or 4 years, like everybody's like really close. So I am curious to see like how good they'll be.
Yeah, definitely. I think Kennesaw State did a really good job last season. I went to one of their games, and then it was the game against, I want to say UTEP, University of Texas,
Hmm. El
El
Paso.
Paso. So I was at that game, and then when they won, and I was like, all right, we have a bowl game bid, and everybody just went crazy. The crowd is going crazy. The players are going crazy. So it was a lot of crazy energy. But I think Kennesaw State's football program is doing really well. So it'll be interesting to see this year. Like you said, it's a team full of transfers and everything. Some people transferring out, some people transferring in. But I think they have it together, though.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like Coach Mack. I mean, they didn't hire him for no reason, so I feel like he kind of understands what to do. So we'll see.
Speaking of transferring, you transferred to Georgia Tech. And so, what went through your mind through that whole process, and why did you choose Georgia Tech?
Um, I didn't transfer out of Kennesaw for like no hate at all. Like I remember sitting down with the head coach, and I literally told him I was like, because I mean I know I'm like not gonna like probably go to the NFL or anything. So I was just like curious to see like if I test the waters, like who would hit me on my line. I just told him I was like I have no hate towards Kennesaw or anything like that. So, I just told him I was like, I just want to see like test the waters just to see because I like started 4 games freshman year and then I was the full time starter my sophomore year. So I had like a lot of game experience. So I just I hit the portal and yeah, the portal's kind of especially for a long snapper and I don't have an agent or anything like that because I didn't you know I was because some people have agents or probably everybody has agents now, but yeah, I went there with being blind. I had no like talks with coaches before I hit the portal or anything like that. But yeah, it was kind of nerve wracking because everybody needs like running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, but not everybody needs a long snapper. And yeah, so I hit the portal, and like instantly as soon as I got in, I was getting DMs from coaches and offers and all that stuff. It was kind of because it was so much different compared to like my high school recruiting. This is like the first time I was actually like getting like recruited. So it was it felt really cool. Also like nerve wracking at the same time because like I was getting offers from schools, like schools that are like far out west. I didn't really want to go out there. I kind of want to stay like in the southeast, maybe like a little bit north. But yeah, I was getting offers from a few places, and then I was George Southern was my first offer. It's kind of crazy. So I went on my visit to George Southern because they were my first offer, and then I was also talking to Georgia Tech at the time. And so when I was on my visit to Georgia Southern, like I was watching practice, just on the sidelines, I get a text from the special teams coach, and he was like, "Hey, Ronnie, would love to have you on a visit." So like I was like texting other coaches while I was at Georgia Southern. That was pretty funny. But yeah, I won the visit at Georgia Southern, and then I think it was the next weekend I went to Tech. I just absolutely loved it. Because I think it was just the best fit for me. It's a incredibly great school. I just you could tell that the football team was on the rise and everything, and like all the new facilities are being built right now. It was just there was like nothing to hate about Georgia Tech, so that's why I chose Tech.
The special teams unit had a pivotal moment against Clemson at home in 2025 with Aiden Burr's game winning field goal. How was the energy at Bobby Dodd when that play happened?
That was crazy. I being a part of like a field storming was insane. I mean, we did it against Miami last year, but like this time, like it was obviously different. Like, it was a walk off field goal, but yeah, that was just insane. It was like I didn't really know what was going on for real until like after I snapped the ball. Because like I was like, so we got the ball. I don't remember what yard line we were on the other side of our 50. But then, we were moving the ball. I thought like maybe we were gonna get like because the offense was doing pretty decent, so we kept like moving the ball. And I was like, all right, we're probably gonna get like a short field goal. And I think like it was like a flagger like got sacked or something like that. And so I was like, either we're gonna have to like just punt this away to go to overtime, or it's gonna be a long field goal. But I was just like, I was calm with during it. I feel like I'm always like more nervous watching college football than playing. It's kind of crazy to say, but yeah. So they kept moving down the field a little bit, looking at the clock, and then I realized we didn't have any timeouts. So I was like, we might have to run a Toro. That's what we call our fire drills, Toro. Like we have little towels like on the sideline. People like go like that, like whatever. Yeah. So I was like, we might have to run a Toro, and then getting under a minute. We're not close to a short field goal. So I was like, either yeah, we're probably gonna have to boom this one. And so then the special teams coordinator started gathering up all the linemen and Marshall. He was our holder slash punter. And then me, and then Burr. You know, he's like all huddled up because like as a fire drill, you gotta all run out there and just like get set and snap it. And so I think it was like 19 seconds. Like Haynes got down with 19 seconds left. They ran off the field. We like ran on the field, and I didn't really have like in that kind of stuff. You don't really have time to think about anything. So I just ran on the field, grabbed the ball, and like just snapped it. And then I looked up and then saw the ball. Like first, it was like from my angle, it was like outside the upright like that. And then as soon as it started curving, like it could have missed. I have no clue. It could have missed, but like as soon as I started curving, I turned around and started jumping on Burr. So like that would have been kind of embarrassing if he missed, but he made it. So and then everybody and their mom came on the field, so that was cool.
Were you nervous before the play? Like, were your hands shaking? Like, all right, this is for the game. Here we go. Or was it like, hey, we've done this before. We've been here before. It's just another play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say I like wasn't nervous. I feel like I was more nervous like when they're on the far side of the field before they started moving it a little bit. Because at first I thought like we were gonna have to like punt, like it'd be like backed up punt. So I was warming up punt snaps, and then they started moving down the field a little bit. But it's not we've practiced that every single week. We practice that, and literally like the last thing we practiced before the game was a fire drill, and like Key was like can't remember exactly what he said. He said we did like the fire drill, made the field goal, and he like had the field goal team like huddle up around him. He was like I got a feeling that at some point in this game we're gonna have to use that. He's like, so we got to be on our p's and q's, and I mean, yeah, he was right.
For sure. But y'all were ready, though.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, like I he Key after the game on the Sundays we had like team meeting. He was like, out of the 25 years of coaching, I've never had to run a fire drill field goal, and then to win the game.
Dang, that's crazy. What goes through your mind on a clutch field goal or a clutch play like that?
Honestly, not a lot. That sounds like kind of crazy, but like I'm the type of guy that, like, if I think too much, that's when I start messing up. Like I just have like a clear mind. I'm just like if I'm not like warming up, I'm just like just standing there. I'm watching the jumbotron because especially at home, like we got like little seats and then like guys in front of the benches. So like I couldn't, and I'm like in the back warming up, so I can't see it, like the field. So like I'll be watching the jumbotron. So yeah, I don't really think much, especially like on like third down or something like that. I'll get like on second down, I like start warming up a little bit, and on third down I'll get like one, and then like get close to the line of scrimmage. So I just run out there. I just like grab the ball and just like yeah, I don't think about anything, especially like because I think I don't even remember because it was people were saying that the Clemson game was really loud. I couldn't tell you, but because I couldn't hear anything. But yeah, I just literally just grab the ball and then just wait for Marshall to go set, and then I just snap it, and then that's like when I start like thinking about stuff because it's all like a blur from like as soon as I put the ball like in my hands to like snapping it. That's like all a blur, to be honest.
At one point in time, Georgia Tech was ranked in the top 10 in college football. How was the energy around campus? I think the highest you all were ranked at the time was like 7. So, what was the energy
Seven,
like
yeah.
walking around campus as a football player and everybody's like, dang, Georgia Tech is going crazy this year with football?
Yeah, campus was definitely jumping. I'm not gonna lie. Especially like I mean, I don't really think I look that much like a football player. I feel like I look like a kind of like just like built like a regular person. But like I have way too much football gear and like shirts, shorts, sweatshirts. So like I like my whole wardrobe's Georgia Tech football stuff. So I'll wear it around campus, and then like when we start winning games, like more people like want to talk to you, and yeah, so like everybody in classes would just like after a win would like fist pump me or something like that. And then one of my teachers or professors during the season, he's a big donor to the Georgia Tech football. He after every like class, it was like because it was a Tuesday Thursday class right after the class on Thursday. He'd be like, "All right, Ronnie, we got a game on Saturday. What are we gonna do?" And I'd be like, "We're gonna kick their ass." And he's like, "Hell yeah, we are!" And yeah, he was awesome. Gary T. Jones. His name's like on like the tunnel for the gates for people to go into the stadium, and then the tunnel we run out on, it says Gary T. Jones Tunnel. He's an awesome guy. But yeah, especially people like you a lot more around town when you're winning than losing. I'll say that.
I get that. That's fair. That's fair. But I think Georgia Tech has some really nice fans too, really nice fan base, and I think the energy
Yeah.
around campus is really cool from what I hear from different students who have gone to Georgia Tech. What's the best thing about being a Yellow Jacket?
The best thing, I mean, I can't just say one thing. I love this place. I'm not gonna lie. I love living in the middle of Atlanta. There's always something going on. I love that there's this degree has so much pull around the country. And I just love being on the football team too. I love just being around a bunch of guys, because, after football, you won't be around 100 plus guys every single day, like trying to like have the same goal as you, especially all different personalities in the locker room. I can't say one bad thing about Georgia Tech in my eyes. To be honest, I love this place. I've met so many great people, like regular students and football players and football coaches too, and other people down the road too.
What was it like being in a locker room with players like quarterback Haynes King, wide receiver Malik Rutherford, and others?
From my perspective, like it was not much like oh my god, this is Haynes King, because I'd like he was just like so humble. I'm not gonna lie, he was like one of the, like especially for a guy his like his name and stature, like I would forget that like he's kind of like popular around the country because he was just like so humble. He'd come like go up to like the specialist like locker area and like come speak to us, and he'd go like everywhere and talk. He was just very humble. Malik same way. He was a pretty popular name. Like all those like our whole team last year, like I can't like say anybody was like too big for the team. Like everybody was really close, and especially for Haynes, like everybody would run through a brick wall for him. Especially like after seeing him on Saturdays, like just get his body killed. Like it was insane, especially for a quarterback. I was like, all right, wow. But he put his body on the line for us.
My bad. I remember after one of the games I was at, I believe it was against Pittsburgh. And granted, you all did lose. That was a tough one. But after the game, I saw Haynes. I was like leaving the stadium, and I saw Haynes, and he had like a line of people just waiting for autographs and pictures and everything. And he signed every single thing. He took every picture and talked to everybody. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's really cool. Just to be like the quarterback of the team, to be like the star player or, the big man on campus, as they say, but still taking the time to talk to people. And I was like, that's really cool. I really respect that.
I did not know that. Yeah, because everybody after the game was really like our hearts were just like that, because everybody knows the circumstances. All we had to do was just beat Pitt, and we were going to go to the ACC championship. And watching the ACC championship game, Duke won. And we swept the floor with them at their own place. So like we were all just like, bro, we could have won the ACC championship and went to the playoff. It was terrible. Yeah, because all of us after the game, like, oh my gosh, I want to get off the field as soon as possible. I had no words, but I didn't even know about Haynes, especially for him. That's that just shows how much like character that guy has. Because I don't even know if I would have done that. I would have said something wrong to someone because I was so pissed off.
Yeah, I get that definitely. So that definitely surprised me, and I was like, wow, that was a really humble thing to do. And so I thought that was really cool. And then I walk around campus and I see like Haynes King pictures and like sheets with his face on them near like the frat houses, and I was just like, all right, this is what Georgia Tech is about. But I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, pretty nice environment. But yeah, how did spring practice go this past April?
For me, I had no complaints from spring ball. Especially spring. They're not really like more like focused on special teams, especially like us. We got a new offensive coordinator, new defense coordinator, and really just a lot of new guys on the team, new transfers, early enrolls. And so they're more worried about like offense and defense stuff, trying to get like plays and schemes. But yeah, we had no complaints from punting or field goal. Burr did. I don't know what percent he was, but he did very well during spring. That's expected out of him because he's a dog. But yeah, I can't complain about it. I'm excited to see what we can do with the new offense and defense. Bogey, the new defense coordinator, he or Coach Seymour. Yeah, I keep forgetting his last name's Coach Seymour because we all just call him Boogie. But yeah, he's been at some different colleges, and he's done really well with during like the turnover margin and all that stuff. And I feel like that's what we needed on our defense because I don't think last year we exceeded that goal as good as we wanted. And offense, we had Buster Faulkner going to Florida with some other guys on the team. But yeah, I'm just excited to see what Coach Gotti has for us and seeing what all the new guys on offense are going to do.
Yeah, definitely. And you all actually got some new additions to the team too via the transfer portal. You got former Indiana quarterback Alberto Mendoza, former Alabama and Michigan running back Justice Haynes. You got defensive end Noah Carter, Vincent Carroll Jackson, Chris Corbo, and such. So, how's it been for you just getting to know some of your new teammates?
Yeah, I mean, I can't. They're good football players. That's what we need. I'm just excited to see what they can do heading into fall camp and really summer ball too. I'm just excited for them to build on what they were doing in spring ball and build up to fall camp and getting ready for Colorado on a Thursday.
What are you looking forward to the most about the 2026 college football season?
Winning. That's what I'm looking forward to is winning. Yeah, we're expecting to win a lot of games this year. Last year we started. I'm not gonna lie, we started 8-0, and then kind of. I wouldn't say like we took a downturn. It's just we lost some crucial games. We could have won in the back half of the season, but I think we got bigger dudes on the team this year. And so we got some dudes on this team. I'm not gonna lie, and I feel like we're gonna have a better back half of the season and a great front half of the season too.
I understand that the NFL draft was recent. And what was it like for you seeing teammates Keelan Rutledge and Jordan Vanderberg being drafted into the NFL?
That I was so happy. I'm not gonna lie. especially for Red, Keelan Rutledge. He going first round like that was insane. Like because we both transferred in together. He was at Middle Tennessee State, and we transferred in together. He was actually the first person I talked to when I transferred here because all like the transfers we had to get here like a week earlier than like school started because we had to do all this like compliance stuff and yeah, he was literally like the first person I talked to. Like we talked down, extremely humble guy. I feel like people know his story about like how he like almost had to get his foot amputated after his car wreck. Because yeah, that was like his. Don't quote me on this because I might get the story wrong, but I think after his visit in the portal to Tech, he was going to Clemson for a visit, got in that wreck, and like his truck like rolled over and over. And yeah, they were talking about having to amputate his foot, but he was like, no, that's not happening. And yeah, so the first like I don't yeah, he like just had surgery obviously when he first got here, so he was in a boot and had like a like 4-inch rod coming out of his foot. I remember he like showed me, and yeah, and then he like showed me the X-ray of his whole foot, and it was all jacked up. But
Dang.
yeah, he didn't. I don't, besides like workouts, like upper body, I don't think he did much in the first spring ball we did. But then it got healed, and then he did really well his first season here, and then I think he was. I'm actually not gonna say it because I don't know, but he did really well the first season, and then obviously you see what he did this season, and then it shows. He was a first round pick. Especially for the Texans to trade up for him too. That just shows how much of a dog he was.
Yeah, definitely.
And then for JJ too, you know he's the strongest person I've ever met in my entire life. That's like hands down. He is like probably like him and Red are like the two like feistiest guys I've like with pads on I've ever met in my entire life. It's both of them, like with pads on, I'm totally excited that you guys are on my team. I don't have to worry about that. But with pads off, like they're both like the nicest guys in the world. You can sit down and have talks with them. It's just those are two great guys. And they're just really fun to have around.
People say that linemen are actually the nicest people on the football team. People say that a lot.
Yeah, I would say that's true. Especially the O lineman, D lineman, like they're both like the nicest dudes on the team. But like, I feel like the offensive line are like they're a little different than D lineman. D lineman are a little like more feisty and stuff. But like the O line, like with pads on, they're just like. But then and in the locker room after, like we're all just like laughing and stuff. It's really funny.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned about playing college football throughout your college football career? And what's the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself personally throughout your college football career?
What I've learned from college football is you just got to keep. It's like it's every day. It's an everyday audition. As soon as you think like you've gotten somewhere, especially with like I'll say like the transfer portal. I mean, like you never know. Like they're always college football. They're always trying to replace you. It doesn't matter who you are. They are always trying to replace you with someone better. So you always got to come in every single day, ready to work and give it your all, and some more. And then the thing I've learned about myself is my work ethic. I'm not gonna lie. Being a college athlete in general, you don't have to play football. You can play any sport in college. Is your work ethic. Having to wake up at 6:30 in the morning, being at the facility at 7, um, going to breakfast, like the whole my whole morning from 6:30 to like noon is literally just football. Then having to worry about like classes and all the other stuff, and then like trying to like study and do homework in between those. hours and trying to get like 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Like it's not easy. It's not easy at all. I feel like being a college athlete definitely taught me like time management and everything, and I can do this. When I first was going into college, I was like, looking around like these dudes are huge. I don't know if I can do this. But then like getting into the fire, like your first time, you're really nervous. I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna mess up a lot, but like always take it with a grain of salt. You're not gonna be perfect at everything at the first try. It was you can do stuff that you don't think that you can do.
Yeah,
Because I
definitely.
didn't think I could transfer to Power Four school. I mean, we were top 10 in the country at one point. If you had asked me 6 years ago that I was me, one at Georgia Tech, and two being like the starting long snapper at a Power Four school that was top 10 in the country, I'd been like, okay, cool, you're lying. But it's kind of crazy how life changes.
Yeah, for sure. You're right about that. You're right about that. That's all a part of the process and the journey, though. You just got to keep working and, make sure everything is good time management wise and just stay on your P's and Q's, like they say.
Hmm.
All right, folks. Hope you all enjoyed the episode. I want to give a special shout out to Georgia Tech long snapper Ronnie Thomas III for being on the show. Thank you again for joining the show, Ronnie. Where can they find you on social media?
Instagram is the Ronnie Thomas, and on Twitter is the Ronnie Thomas. If anybody still uses Twitter, but shout me out on Instagram.
All right. So y'all go check Ronnie out and be sure to follow me on my Instagram and Twitter at BJT_era and follow the show's Instagram at the BJT Show 1. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But like I always say, hope y'all have a good one. Peace out.